All right. Additional thoughts time. Jesus is King by Kanye West. I have a couple notes here. It's been an interesting experience with this album. I'll start with, I think, the most important. I am firmly in the camp that this album is overhated. Now, I try to avoid using terms like overrated and overhated because I immediately think, how do we define those terms and how do we know how much hate an album has and what have you? I think this is a pretty good album, honestly. I think, yeah, I was gonna say it's really good. Nah, not quite really good. I think it's a good album. I can get why people are not into it. You know, with the theme of the album, if you're just not wanting to hear anything like that, yeah, this isn't gonna click. You know, that was my main issue with the new Eminem album. Was a lot of things he's talking about, I just would find boring. I don't want to hear about it. So I can share that experience with people who maybe listen to this album and go, yeah, you know, the sound is maybe there, maybe. I don't know what their overall opinions are in terms of negative opinions. But lyrical content is something I gripe about often. So I can see why people just don't really want to sit down with this. Now, in terms of, you know, my perspective, I treated it on the reaction like I was at church, you know? And so I put myself in the position of, if I was in church and they were playing these songs at church, would I be into them? And yeah, basically, yeah. I remember saying at the end of the reaction that I wasn't really into Follow God. Wrong. I like Follow God. That's a good one. What's another one I like? God is good. Everything we need is pretty good. Use this gospel. I got a lot of check marks, honestly. You know, the first one I kind of skip, honestly, because, you know, it almost feels like like an album intro, basically. And then the last one, obviously, is that 50-second, you know, outro prayer, basically like a benediction. I mean, it's essentially a church service structure, the album. But really, you know, when it comes to this album, it's less about the album and more just about where Kanye was and where he was trying to go with his personal life and how that did not happen and where he is now. And so listening to this is kind of sad, honestly, for me. It's kind of sad. I watched the music videos, of course. So there's a couple where he's out in Wyoming and stuff. And people were good to remind me that, you know, he was trying to stay in Wyoming. That's where he wanted to be, because I'd made a comment about, you know, what would have happened if he would have stayed there. And they mentioned, well, he was married to Kim Kardashian at the time, and the Kardashians didn't want to be in Wyoming. They wanted to be in LA, and they wanted, you know, they had just signed some TV deal and all this other stuff. And of course, that makes me think of, you know, Please Baby, No More Parties in LA. Great track off of Life of Pablo. And it's just, it's sad. It's sad overall for the obvious reasons, but I also, I mean, honestly, I feel sad for the fans. I feel sad for the people who had Kanye in their life through difficult, trying times, and his music helped them through that. And how his music gave them just positive energy, you know, something to believe in, self-confidence, whatever it is, you know, whatever it is. It's magical what music can do. And the fan base for Kanye, you know, has been going through it lately. And it's just not, it's weird because I think on the surface people go, well, who cares? It's just music. But that's the thing. It's not just music. It's not just music. It's so much more for many of us. It's so, God, like with this album specifically, especially coming after Life of Pablo, it feels like we were so close, right? He was so close to getting out and then just pulled back in. You know, I want to, of course, do the Godfather quote. But it's almost like this thing where it's like, I want to just reference like a black hole or something, you know, where it's almost escaped that event horizon and then, pulled into the oblivion and crushed. My wife listened to this a couple times. we were out and about yesterday in town doing stuff, and so it's a shorter album, so we got a couple listens on it, and it was fun to watch her react, because there were things that she found very moving, and then there were things that she found infuriating. Did you know, there's a fun fact about my wife, she hates the saxophone. She's over here listening to me. I asked her if she wanted to be on this, and she said, no, because I'll just rant and rave and rant and wave, and then I'll just start crying, and I won't be able to talk, and then I'll rant and rave and then cry. So, okay, all right. I'll speak on your behalf. So we're listening to Use This Gospel, and she's driving the truck, and I look over, she's got a tear running down her cheek, like the song is moving her, touching her. And then the saxophone comes jumping in out of nowhere, and she got so mad. So mad. And I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I hate the saxophone. It was incredible. Oh my God, it was incredible. So she's crying and mad at the same time. And trying to drive the truck. We almost died so many times. For it being such a divisive album, and everyone I'm sure has all kinds of opinions about it, and for all these different reasons, one thing that's sometimes a challenge for us is she is still Christian and I am no longer, but that's been the case for like 15 years now. It's been a while. So this album affects her in a different way than it affects me, and it's fascinating to see the same music applied to a different person and how different the experience is. That's something else that's magical about music. It's another reason why I've been backing away just from online in general, because there's all these opinions flying around and all these arguments over the opinions, and it's so pointless because everyone has such a different experience. You might as well argue apples and oranges or something. Like, it just doesn't matter. It's all about your experience, in my opinion. That's all that matters. And there's no debating your experience. If a song is bringing her to tears, that's her experience. And it's incredible, man. Like, I mean, we all watch reaction content, obviously, this group, this community. It's incredible seeing how music can do that. Just the first time hearing a song, it'll move someone to tears, for whatever reason. It's incredible. And then I say that, and I think about that, and I feel that, and I loop right back to where I was before with, he was so close. He was so close. Now, is it hopeless for Kanye at this point? I don't know. My outlook on Kanye is not very positive in terms of the rest of his career. Who knows? Right? Hopefully I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong. Yeah. Tough. It's tough, man. I guess that's it. Half of this is me just talking about him and the fans, and it sucks. It really sucks. I don't want anybody to become what Kanye has become, and there's all this speculation and rumor and all these things about the people that are in his life and using him and controlling him, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. I have no idea. I feel stupid to even comment on it, because why? I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'll talk about Donda a little bit. Of course, that's the next one in line. I will listen to Donda. I will eventually listen to Vultures 1 and 2 as well. Even though people have told me, don't, just don't. I'm gonna ride this. I'm gonna ride this into the black hole with Kanye. So with Donda, I'm not doing the deluxe because it's way too long, but also people have said it's really helter-skelter in terms of the track order. I saw a comment that got a lot of traction. Somebody said basically do Donda regular, don't listen to the part 2 tracks, and then finish the listen with Life of the Party, which I guess is the final track off of the deluxe version. A lot of people seem to agree with that idea. So I'll do something of a very similar variation, but that's the current plan with Donda. I don't know when I'm going to listen to Donda. I don't have any plans of doing it soon. People have already asked about that as well. It will happen. It will happen eventually. I just kind of want to be in the right place with this album, I'm so glad I waited. I'm glad I took a break and stepped away from Kanye and just let my brain essentially reset, because I had formed a lot of negative opinions about him for reasons we're all aware of. Don't need to repeat them. And I just can't listen to something if I've got a negative opinion on the person to begin with. So Donda will happen. And I guess that's it. I want to say all these things like I hope Kanye gets better and I wish the best for him, and it just feels like dust in the wind. It feels like it doesn't even matter at this point. It's nice to have good intentions and all, but the reality is what it is. Okay, y'all, take care. We'll see you soon.